Hey guys, welcome to the show. Are you an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur that's trying to figure out what their purpose is? Have you given up in the past maybe because you didn't know where to start and you didn't know if you were coming from the right place? Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, then this show is for you. Today we got an exciting show here going on. I have a special guest who I'm going to introduce you guys to in a moment, who's got a wealth of experience on this topic, which is about finding your purpose. So I just want to thank everyone, first of all, and welcome you to the Hangout with Marc show. If this is your first time watching, thank you for putting your trust and your time in us to check out the show. I promise you that if you follow these shows every single week, you're going to have every single thing that you need to get started, whether it's part-time or full-time, on operating and running the business that you've wanted, the business of your dreams. And for all of you guys that are tuning in and have made this a habit, thank you very much. Make Hang Out with Marc a habit as much as possible, because every single week I'm bringing to you people that are experts in their field on the topic we're talking about, so that you and myself can get all of the information that we need to not only start and be inspired, get that inspiration we need by seeing that it's possible in others, but also get those specific how-to steps which empower us. So with that inspiration and with that empowerment, we're now free to actually start and create our business from a place of freedom and free to create what it is that we actually want. So thank you very much for everyone that's watching. Just a quick plug before we get started. If you guys want to get updated every single week on the episode as well as the guest, you can go ahead and subscribe to my Google Plus channel. You'll see it on the screen there. If you just search Marc Gaudett, that's Marc with a C, Gaudett. My name will come up, and the event that's coming for that week will also be shown to you. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is also Marc with a C, Gaudett, Gaudett, which will allow you to get updated again every single week by email, get a reminder, or go to marcgaudett.com. If you go to marcgaudett.com, again, you'll get an email every week on who the guest is, when the show's coming, and what the topic's going to be about. So you can determine whether you want to tune in or not. And the best part about these shows, guys, is whether you can make the live time at Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Times. It doesn't matter or not, because these are recorded and you can watch them at a later date. So thank you guys all for jumping in here. But I wanted to jump in and talk about today's topic. That's right. For all of you aspiring entrepreneurs, all of you brand new entrepreneurs, again, we're talking about purpose. How do I find my purpose? We hear this all the time in the personal development literature. A lot of the times, I can tell you, when I started my business, or when I was getting into the corporate culture right out of university, I always thought that the purpose was to go to university, get a good job that pays you a decent amount of money, and work 9 to 5 and go home and see your family. And that's what life was about. Now, obviously, things have sort of shifted as the consciousness of this planet has been shifting, and people are starting to examine this a little bit deeper and realize that it's not just about working 9 to 5. It's not just about working, but it's really coming from a place that inspires us and adds purpose and value into our life. So without further ado, I want to actually introduce our guest here. Our guest here, his name is Stuart McConnell, and Stuart and I have talked on a couple different occasions, actually, and I thought it would be excellent to have this guy on the show for a number of reasons. One reason, Stuart has spent the last 20 years educating people from an educational and a corporate environment on helping them not just live their life's purpose, but really helping them live a life that's in alignment with their highest values and with the highest good of all. And he's been, a living example of doing this, working one-on-one and in groups with people, now doing just that. And I said, what better person to get on this show with his breadth of experience and the people that he's worked with to enable us to talk about this and really dive in deeper. And I promise you, if you guys have heard that topic, what is my purpose, you guys are going to be surprised by some of the things you hear today. So Stuart, I want to turn the floor over to you. Tell us a little bit how you got into what you do now, and let's get right into that topic of purpose.
All right, so how I got into what I'm doing now is a really interesting journey. So actually about 1.5 years ago, I was sitting at my desk. So I've been an educator, like you said, for over 20 years. A couple of years ago, I decided that I was going to take on education part-time as a professional educator, and I was going to pursue a career in photography, which is one of my first loves and my passion, and blah, 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 blah. And something wasn't sitting right with my photography. I was really, it wasn't flowing is exactly what was going on. It just didn't feel like things were really flowing. So I looked at my wife, who was sitting there with our newborn baby, and I said, I need to go away for 4 days to figure my stuff out. And she was, you know, God love her, she was really great and supportive, and I went away for 4 days, and I put everything in my life on the table that weekend, including my relationship. Everything went on the table, and anything that didn't work had to go. And it was a really profound weekend. It was a really profound experience. And what came out of that was a big punch in the nose, essentially, is the best way that I could put it, where I had this realization that being an educator is something that I've actually done all my life. Since I was in kindergarten, I would actually go back to my old Montessori school and help the kids learn to tie their shoes. So it's something that I've just been doing my entire life. And it was just like, oh my God, this is what I should be doing. And I should be doing this to help adults. So right now I was working in a high school. So now just focusing on helping adults achieve what it is they really want to achieve just felt like this kind of moment, like the heavens opened up and shone down on me for this. And it's been an amazing ride since. I feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
I love that, Stuart. And you want to know one of the things I really like about that is because as you were talking, I think something that came up in myself, and I think comes up in a lot of the, you know, whether they're a 9-to-5 or whether they're an aspiring entrepreneur, is that whole concept of fear, right? Because you put everything on hold for 4 days. You're like, hey, like I'm really going to examine things that are not working and things that are working. And I mean, when you're with someone for a certain amount of time, you have a family or you have a certain job that's providing you maybe a steady income. You know, a lot of people, I find what may help hold them from really examining their purpose is like, well, I would take a closer look at this and I would actually pursue what I'm passionate about or what my purpose is. But I'm afraid if I do that, I'm going to lose everything that I have right now. And there's just no ability for me to actually make money doing what I'm passionate about or what I'm, you know, what is really my purpose. So we're going to dive more into that. But I wanted to ask you, how did you come to do that? And what's your advice for people that are maybe struggling with this idea or really are afraid they want to do it, but they're like, man, like this is going to upturn my entire life. I might lose everything I have right now. Everything's really not that bad. Maybe I should just stick with it. What do you say to those people?
You just have to do it. You have to do it. And the idea that you might lose everything, you have to come to terms with that. You know, you really do have to come to terms with that. It's all about surrendering what you think is for your best good. Because in all actuality, the society that we live in, we don't know what's for our best good. We're in a society where we're spoon-fed all of these things that, you know, this is what your life should look like and this is what you should be doing. You know, like go to school, get the good corporate job, and this is, you know, do your 9-to-5, go home, kiss your family, go to bed, do it all over again. You get to drink a couple beers on the weekend. You know, that's not you. That's what you've been told. And it takes time to just put the brakes on and say, you know what, something in my life is not right. And that's the best place to start, is just understanding that something isn't right and just working your way into the conversation of, you know, it is really just all about putting it all on the table and just surrendering to it. Like things, I may lose everything. You know, and that's basically what it is. You have to be willing to give it all up in order to get something better. Is essentially what it really comes down to. You absolutely have to. You know, look at yourself, right? You had the great corporate job and everything else, and things were going in a great particular direction, and you gave it up for uncertainty. But I bet you couldn't be happier.
Well, absolutely, man, and that's what I was going to say. And one of the things that I would say on that is just to add to that, Stuart, is you're right, because a lot of times we look at it and we're like, I'm going to lose everything. Well, what are we losing though? we're losing what we don't want to begin with, right?
Exactly.
And so we're afraid of when we really think about it, we're like, what are we afraid of? Well, I'm afraid of losing what I know is not right for me. And stepping into that thing, but the reason why I'm afraid is really because it's just a little bit outside my comfort zone, right? I've never done this. I've never had this idea of pursuing something that is maybe there's uncertainty and maybe I don't know how I'm going to make an income for it, but there's definitely ability there. And one of the things that just came to my mind is that one of my mentors here, Nick Pereira, he was like, with people that let's say they want to know what their purpose is, or let's say they want to know what their mission is. He's like, well, one good place to start if you don't know is find something that, just like what you said, what isn't working for you, find something that really pisses you off, and then it might have something to do related to that. So for me, one of the things that I found that really made me angry was like always not being in a position to have the time to spend time with my family, or not being in a position to have the resources and the income that I needed to support them a little bit. Or I always had to be locked in working like 60, 70, 80 hours doing those things with no control, and not being able to really add value. I felt like I was stripped away from my family, and they felt like I didn't care about them. And it was just like really making me upset. And I'm like, yeah, even though when you become an entrepreneur, theoretically, or you could be working more of those hours, but you're a little bit more in control. And if you're doing something that you're more passionate about too, it takes away less of that anger, less of that stress. And I find that you're really able to connect a little bit more. But what are your thoughts on that? What's a way that you would say that people can come to finding out really what that purpose is for them?
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing is I really sat down to look at this the last little while. So you're not the first person to have come up and asked me to talk about this topic in the last little bit. So as I was preparing for all this different stuff, and I really sat and thought about it. So my story behind finding my purpose was a few years ago. I worked with an incredible life coach, and she was highly intuitive and was really able to pick out these beautiful things from within you. And she led me to this place where I found, my purpose, and we were able to create this statement and everything else. And it was like, wow, this is amazing. I have my life's purpose. But when I sat and looked at it, it was like, but this is me. This is innately what I do anyway. It's not something else outside of myself. So the big thing that I would tell people is this whole idea of finding your purpose is it's actually full of crap. What it is it's just another reason for you to not feel fulfilled right now in this moment. Because it's all that actually matters. The fact of having your life purpose in terms of moving in a particular direction, it's already there. It's already innate within you. You are already doing these things. You might not be making money at it, but it's part of who you are. It's part of your programming from birth. You're here to do a job. You're here to learn, and you're here to do a particular job for the planet, and you actually are doing them. The big issue that people are having is that they're not feeling fulfilled, and they're thinking that, oh, well, it's because I don't know my life's purpose. What's really going on is that you're actually clouding what it is you love to do and the reason why you're here on the planet with all of this other stuff that I had spoken of before, that society tells you should be this, you should be this, and do this, and do this, and buy this, and buy this. And all of those things aren't bringing you joy and fulfillment. And there's a lack of congruency between the two, and that's what people are feeling, right? What I really want to do is what society is telling me that I shouldn't be doing, because I should be doing, I should just be a good little, worker and do this. And that's really where people are having the problem. So the real thing is actually just look at the best way to do it is to actually just make a list of all the different things in your life. This is actually something that I get all my clients to do is we sit down in the first couple sessions and make a list, and the list is everything that's going on in your life, the people in your life, the things in your life, the physical things in your life, the events and other stuff that's going on in your life. And if it brings you joy, it stays. If it brings you much upset, it either goes right then, or you have 3 months in which to change your context around it in order for it to stay. And if at the end of those 3 months, it still doesn't bring you joy, then it has to go. So it's about bringing more joy into your life and ditching, just ejecting all the other stuff that doesn't actually work for you as much as possible. I mean, you know, there's a fine line, right? You can't really eject your parents from your life if your parents are getting on your nerves all the time. But you can certainly limit the amount of time that you spend with those people and those things that aren't bringing you joy. So you want to bring the percentage of joy and fulfillment up in your life and start lowering your exposure to the other things.
Do you know why I think that's so powerful, Stuart? Because you just basically put it into scenario that any person watching, everyone that's watching, I hope you were listening to that it doesn't matter what you're doing, right? It doesn't matter if you're working a 9 to 5. It doesn't even matter what business you're doing. If you have that perspective that Stuart just talked about, that no matter what you're doing, you are just naturally living your life's purpose. You are serving. You're being your very best self every day. You're helping and serving to the very best of your ability. It doesn't matter if you're cleaning a floor. It doesn't matter if you are the CEO of a company. It doesn't matter if you're a cashier at Sobeys or any grocery store for that matter. What Stuart is talking about here is all about realizing that you can have that happiness and that sense of purpose every single day. It's not something you have to go and find and spend 3 years and journal for 3 or 4 years and say, now I have it. Because the reality is, the more you journal, the more you evolve, the more you grow. Something that I've realized is that everything changes. You're going to come up with more specificity on your statements, and you'll realize a week or two. And I do this all the time. I journal. Anyone that follows me on Facebook, they see, like, I write gratitude statements almost every day. But the reality is, I journal and I write notes every day, and I don't always post all of those. And I can tell you that my thoughts change. What I thought was a great idea the day before evolves, and it keeps evolving and keeps evolving as I go. And so the reality is, your purpose, it sounds like, Stuart, and correct me if I'm wrong, is always something that's going to continue. The purpose, your mission, your why, it's always going to continue to evolve as you live your life. But just know that right now, you are living your purpose as you are now, and tomorrow you will live your purpose as you are tomorrow. And by people doing that, they're able to actually get in a state where they can be happy now and really start attracting more of what they do, like, in their life. You were going to say something.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. So it is about just finding the joy in now more than anything else. And also what you were saying about it evolving. Yes, it does continue to evolve as you learn and grow as a person. How you express that innate part of who you are will continue to change. Right. So, when I was giving my story about, doing photography and following this thing that I was really passionate about, though I didn't continue with it, it was a very necessary step in my evolution to where I am now. I had to go through that. And even though I didn't, see it through to completion of making, $200,000, $300,000 a year, I learned what I was supposed to learn from it, and I was in full gratitude of what I got from it. And now it's time to move on to something else. And how I expressed myself through my photography is the same way that I express myself through coaching other people. So it's the same thing, just different tools.
Yeah, you're right. And the other thing that you said there that resonates very well is, guys, no matter what you're doing right now, what I took away from what Stuart just said is, or what you've done. So what you're doing now or what you've done, it really doesn't matter, because you've learned skills and things that are going to be transferable, that are helping you on your journey, that are helping you on your purpose. Like, I used to work for I did a couple sales jobs. I used to work for a CRM company that taught me some of the best sales processes for long-term sales. I also worked in a boiler room type of sales company as well. And then I run, painting franchise businesses as well. And I've acquired a lot of different skills from interviewing and hiring, from short and long-term sales, that no matter what are going to be important, not only in selling myself, but in selling my product or services in any business I go into or any company that I choose to work for. And so everything that you guys have done up to this point, don't view it as you're wasting your time. View it as it being a contributing and a necessary foundation and part of your platform that's going to allow you to grow into and continue to grow into who you are meant to become. So that's what I'm taking away from Stuart's conversation, and also confirming to me here as to what's right. And Stuart, I just want to know, is there anything you wanted to add there before I go in and add some questions? Anything that's popping top of your mind you think the viewer might need to hear right now?
Yeah. The big thing is about purpose. So being purposeful. So not finding your life purpose, but being purposeful. So every day when you get up, being purposeful about every single thing that you do in your day. You know, we all go through these times where we make a list, like the honeydew list on the weekend, right? You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. It feels great when you actually just sit and focus and you get that list done. And the reason why it feels good isn't because of the sense of accomplishment. It's because you're operating with this sense of purpose where everything can just flow in that particular direction. There are no real distractions. You're just there getting things done. And if you can take the time out in each of those things that you do, whether it's brushing your teeth or driving to work or whatever it is, just take the time out to just be present in that moment. We spend most of our day in, I call it triage mode, which is, okay, what's the big fire now? What needs to be put out so that I can move on to the next thing? Instead of going, okay, so this is my day. This is what it looks like. This is what needs to be done. And I'm going to go forward and I'm going to deal with these things. And if something comes up, then something comes up. And that's it. But you don't sort of go, oh my God, where am I going next? I'm in reaction to this and I'm in reaction to that. You just, it's just really coming back down to just living with that type of purpose with everything that you're doing in your day.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. That whole power of like purpose and intention, having intentions for activities that you're doing that day, having intentions for what you want to accomplish and achieve that day. That's actually something I usually do in the morning, even if it's mentally, or I write it down. Like I might write down things that I'm grateful for, and then I might write down 3 things that I'm grateful for that haven't happened yet, but are my intentions that will happen for that day. And so I find that helps as well. And it sounds like exactly what you're describing. But I want to put up this model I actually came across here regarding purpose, and you'll see it's basically 3 circles where purpose is in the middle. So we talked about, finding out what I am passionate about right over here. What am I passionate about? And then there's this other question that's like, what could I be the best at in the world, and how can I make money? A lot of people may not think they need to be, what can I be the best at in the world? But what's something that I guess when I asked myself this question, what is something that I know I'm very, very good at, that I'm confident at, and that I know I can add value right now into the marketplace and world, that I'm passionate about? And then that third question is, how can I make money? So I put that up there because I came across it in an article I was reading. It's actually in a book, which I forget the name of. And I said, this is something that in some way, shape, or form, I've kind of included in my concept of how I've come to start, and start doing my own company. And, the passion part, we've nailed it, right? We've talked about putting together that to-do list, or that list. What is everything I like? What are the things that I don't like? And how can I minimize these things as much as possible over the next three months or so that I'm really focusing on what makes me happy and brings me joy. Then it comes down to, once I've done that, how can I, really position myself in a unique way, so that I'm ultimately in a position, if I choose to make money on that. So Stuart, I wanted to go into that because I know a lot of the viewers, they're going to say, well, I'm passionate about X, Y, Z, and I know I could be good at it, but there's 2 things that are stopping me. How can I differentiate myself in the marketplace so that I'm able to, 1, potentially get customers, and then 2, start earning money from this, so that if I choose to, I can completely focus on my passion and not be divided. Does that question ever come up? It must come up a lot in your coaching as well.
Oh yeah.
So let's dive into that, because I know a lot of the viewers, that's a question for them. That's a lot of the reasons why they haven't started. If you told them how they could earn money from their passion and how they could find their unique differentiating offer, and they felt confident in that, a lot of people would be entrepreneurs tomorrow, or at least start part-time. On what they want to do. What would you say to those people, Stuart? Where should we start for them?
Yeah, so a great place to start with that is, as an entrepreneur, you are your business, and something, you've heard this many times before. You are your business, but you have to take that a step. We need to take that a step further, and the step further is understanding that you literally are your business. You are the face of that business. You're the personality behind the business. You are what the person sees, and you are what the person buys. More so than the stuff that you're actually selling, people are buying you. So if they're buying you, and you're a unique individual on the planet, there is nobody else on the planet like you, and there never will be, and there never was before. That is your brand. You are your brand. Who you are as a person, your passion for what it is that you do, is what people buy. And that's really the bottom line. Mark, you've worked with Cynthia Phillip Photography, and branding images, right? I have too, and that's what it's all about. It's about, she doesn't have you do things that aren't you, that are just going to be sellable. She has you just being you more than anything else. And we all, we're inundated by ads every single day, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of ads. We know when we're being sold to, and we also know when we see something authentic. And we just really, speaking for everybody, we just want something that's authentic. We want to connect with real people, not with big corporations.
That's beautiful. And you know why I'm glad you transitioned into there, Stu, because you're just right. I'm reminded of that whole phrase, like, people they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right?
Yes.
And that whole aspect, when we talk about purpose, we're also talking about why, right? Why do you do something? Because that why you do something is that uniqueness. That's part of the uniqueness in you, right? And you just talked about something. So for people that are listening, like, why do I do what I do? Why do I put on these Google Hangouts every single week? Do I get paid for this? No. I mean, this is something that we do for free, and it adds value. But why do I do this? It's because for me, so long in my life, one of the biggest things that I've always wanted to do was create my own freedom-based business, my own business where I'm able to really have a means of income coming in from different sources, that if I want, I can go and travel the world, learn from the very best in the world, and be able to share that from my audience, whether that's salsa dancing, whether that's how to generate passive incomes, whether that's health and nutrition. I want to be in that position to experience all of those things. And I know there's a lot of people out there that want to have that lifestyle-based business. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't I go and interview all these people that can help me get there? Not only do I learn how to do that, but I'm able to share that with my audience. So the people that resonate with my why and my uniqueness are saying, okay, Mark isn't just a coach. Mark isn't just an online marketer. Mark isn't just, someone that's interested in freedom and inspiring and empowering people. Mark wants to cover, allow people to really, who resonate with him, to create a business, but create it from a place of freedom where they're able to live the lifestyle that they want, not just create their business to earn a quick buck and earn $1 million, right? It's a different reason why I do it, and it resonates with me so much because I have felt that all of the things that have held me back from doing that before, and all of those things that scared me, that are probably scaring the viewers, like, oh, what happens when I don't have a steady income source, or what happens if no one believes in me? What happens if what I'm offering, no one buys it? Or what happens if there's 20 or 30 other people out there doing the same thing and I can't compete with them? That's all noise. It's all nonsense. And Stuart just alluded to it, because he told you it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's a Tony Robbins. It doesn't matter if there's a Brendan Bouchard. It doesn't matter if there's 50 other authors. There is no other person like you out there. And you have your own personality that's different from every single person that I mentioned. And some people are going to resonate with your personality. Some people are going to resonate with your specific why more. And those people are going to be drawn to you. And when they're drawn to you, that's how you can turn your passion, your personality, and the person that you are into the person that's able to attract people and create your business and earn your income from doing that. And once we get our heads wrapped around that, and Stuart made that crystal clear to me through what you just talked about, I think we're in that position where we're that much more closer and that much more ready to at least start investigating, okay, how do I start making this happen? If I'm not doing it today, how do I start making this happen now? And I'm at the point, guys, where my why is so strong. If I went bankrupt today, I don't care. Like, I will do whatever it takes I'm serious. Like, I will do whatever it takes. If I have to go and to make ends meet and I'm going to go work somewhere else, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that with the intention that I'm living my life's purpose and provide the very best value. Because guess what? When you're operating with that passion, with that inspiration in anything that you do, you're just going to keep attracting people that are going to help you achieve your dream, that are going to help you achieve your vision. It doesn't matter if I'm cleaning a floor or I'm a cashier. If you look at the most successful people, the Tony Robbins, the Brendon Burchards, you look at the Les Browns, all of those people started from like zero, and they had that vision, they had that dream, they had their purpose, and they rose to the people that they are today. And the same thing can happen for you. The same thing's happening to me. The same thing's can happen for all of us. But you just have to believe that and take into heart what Stuart's saying. So I think that's really important. But Stuart, I actually had a question that I wanted to ask you that was from one of the viewers of the show.
Yeah, great.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to pull it up. I have it written down here. So, okay, so here it is. So this question is from Natalie. So Natalie asked us, so how do you manage to get past that honeymoon phase of making a big change? So you make a big change, you say, I'm going to follow my purpose. I'm going to follow my passion. But what'll happen is you've already had a lot of habits that have been ingrained to you prior to making that decision. And these habits start coming back in and sabotaging you from pursuing that passion or creating that lifestyle and pursuing what is your purpose or your mission, as we'll call it. So what would you say to someone that's like that? They've made the jump, they're sold on this, like, okay, I'm going to start today, or they started, and 3 weeks later, they're like, oh my God, these other habits, I keep getting pulled back into what I was doing before. Things are not moving forward. What do you say to someone like that? Because that's a problem that a lot of people will have, and a lot of people have right at the beginning.
Get coaching.
Get coaching, yes.
Get coaching. It's a question that gets asked all the time. It is a bigger, deeper question. So in finding out the why of why you keep getting stopped. So we all keep getting stopped for different reasons. Usually when we get stopped and we get all upset at ourselves for it, and I just got to hammer through it, and why this isn't working again, and this isn't working again, and this sucks, and why is it me, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. I call those flogging tools, because they're just more excuses to beat ourselves up, because as human beings, we have this innate love of beating ourselves up. And that's like a whole other topic that's just absolutely incredible to deal with. But in terms of something quick that you can really work on is the idea that it does take time to change a habit. It takes 21 days, actually, to create a new habit. So when you actually start looking at the physiology behind why it is you do what you do, we have a lot of these little neural links. So all these different neurons in the brain, and they've all come together in and around a particular belief system that we have. So it takes time for those to all start to break apart and to form new habits. So we have to give ourselves the space of time to actually create these new habits. Now, the trick with the 21 days is that it has to be 21 days consecutively. There can't be any break in that time. So the reason why it's 21 days and why there can't be a break in it is there's actually a study that was done by NASA in the 70s where they gave the astronauts these glasses to flip the world upside down. So they were looking at everything upside down, and they wanted to see what the effect would be on motion sickness and everything else while they were just walking around on Earth. And what they found was after 21 days, for all of the astronauts that participated in the study, when they hit the 21-day mark, their brains flipped the images right side up again. And they had no idea that this would actually happen. So they continued doing a few different studies, trying it different ways, and every single time they were consistent with 21 days, their brain flipped it the right way up again. If there was a break of 1 day in there, they'd have to start over with the 21 days. So it's about that consistency.
That's so important. And I've heard of that study. I remember that. And thank you for bringing that to our awareness, because I think what matters here, guys, is awareness, right? So like awareness that you know that these things are going to happen. Stuart just talked about, you know, you are going to have habits. You are going to have things that might pull you back into your previous routines as you start to make some changes and as you start to think a little bit differently. But the important thing is to be consistent every single day with it, especially for those first 21 days, as Stuart said, if we really want to start to make progress and have less chance of falling back into old routines that are going to help us or that are going to deteriorate or pull away from us really starting to think and believe that we are living our purpose and we are living our mission, and that we're creating the things that we want to create. Because remember, if there's the thing that really stood out there, if there's 1 day in between, and he used the exact study with an astronaut study, that we may have to start from the beginning again. We may think, oh, 1 day is not a big deal, but it just goes to show you 1 day actually is a big deal. So I want to recap this episode a little bit before we go further. But before I recap, Stuart, is there anything you wanted to add? And then we're going to go and find out how people can find out more about you and any projects you're working on. But is there anything you wanted to add before I recap here?
Sure. One of the questions you'd asked before, I didn't get a chance to touch on because we were moving so well. Was about how to make money.
Let's talk about that. Yes, please.
Yeah. And the phrase that keeps coming up in my mind that's going to really trigger people is money is overrated. And the reason why I say that is because we place so much significance around money that we actually, it's what stops us from being able to do what we really are passionate about, right? Because it is that one big question that comes up for people is, well, that's really great and this is what I'd love to do, but how can I make money at it? So the more attached we are to the how am I going to make money, how am I going to make money, how am I going to make money, the less likely it is that we're going to be able to make money, because the conversation you're actually having with yourself is not how am I going to make money, it's I can't make money at this. Right?
Wow.
That's what that all comes out to, really. Because when you think about it, the feelings that are actually there are the feelings of I can't make money at this. Instead of, cool, now how do I go and make money at this? Right? Two very different ways.
That is so powerful, because you know what? It's like when you think about it, right? We've been ingrained as a culture and society that when people are like, I want to make money, what do? You go get a job. What do you do? Okay. And everyone's like, how much am I going to get paid? How am I going to make money? How am I going to make money? And that's been so ingrained to us that we've learned it so well that we almost can't see any other way of earning money, right? When there's so many other ways to earn money. There's passive income streams, there's starting your own business, there's investing, there's so many different ways, but we've shut out our views of doing that a lot of the time. So to the point where we're too scared to do anything, like you said, and it's always like, how am I going to earn money? And because we can't see that right away, we're operating from that scarcity mentality and nothing ends up happening. But I thought that was powerful when you said that, because it reminds me sort of a quote that I read in an article in Entrepreneur magazine, where they're like, life is meant to be here to be enjoyed. But when we start kind of, worrying and making it all about the money, it ends up holding us back. What we need to go back to actually focusing on making a difference. And then the money starts to follow, because when you make that difference, you're just focused on the value that you can provide to the other person, to the other organization. And naturally, that's when you start to retrain your brain and do that. Like, imagine we did that for 21 days, every single day, just focusing on value rather than how am I going to make money, focusing on giving that person value every single day to retrain our brain and see if we start actually earning income from that source and earning more income. Is that something that you would encourage some clients to do or people to do, Stuart?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the big a great analogy that I heard fairly recently with attachment, and certainly the attachment to money, is when you put sand in your hand and you close your hand around it. The tighter you close your hand around it, the more of it escapes. So that's one that I would definitely say, and to really get clear with why you want to earn the money. So money is a dog treat. It's nothing more, right? It's just a dog treat to get you to do what people want you to do more than anything else. Because we believe that if we have money, if we have a certain amount of money, then we will have fulfillment, then we will have happiness, we will have all of these things. And it's completely untrue. You know, if you're out in the woods and you're stuck out in the woods and, you know, you're naked and cold and you find shelter and warmth, you're happy and you're fulfilled, and that doesn't cost a dime.
So true. And I want to say thank you for sharing that, guys. If you're listening, I mean, listen to that, because, you know, I know it comes down to money a lot. That's one of the ideas you have in your mind, but I hope that, or my intention is that, you know, Stuart and myself will help reframe that and frame that in a different way for you, so that you can start thinking about things a different way and just go out there and be in a position to just start, whether that's starting to do the current job or business that you have right now with a different mentality, knowing that you're already serving from your mission, from your purpose, or whether that's starting something you are passionate about and that you want to create. But again, starting with this right mindset and making it a habit for at the very least 21 days straight with no interruptions in between, so that it really starts to transform your conditioning up here. And so some of the things that I took away from the episode, guys, was really having purpose for each day. So when we say purpose, having an intention, right? What do I want to accomplish this day? What do I want to accomplish from this task? And being really present. So never be present while I'm doing those actions, right? That helps produce, you know, results and allows us to feel more aligned with what we are doing, even if it's something as simple as brushing our teeth. You know, the next thing is we talk about people buy why you do something, not just what you do, right? So understand that no matter what you're thinking about yourself or your skill set or who you are, understand that you are unique. You have there is no one like you today. There was never anyone like you, and there won't be anyone like you tomorrow. You are your own person, and because of that, you have your own personality, your own unique skill sets and offering that you can actually provide to the world. And you already are providing that, whether you're aware of that or not. And one of the ways you can get more aware of that, and Stuart suggested, was this really, really good exercise. I don't know if you can see this. It may not be clear, but basically I wrote list at the top here, and down here I wrote joy. So joy, anything that's joyous in my life stays, and goes over here, anything that I don't enjoy. So Stuart made us a real powerful exercise, and I encourage you to do that for homework. What are all the things that you enjoy right now in your life? And what are those things? Write a list of things that you don't enjoy. And then over the next 3 months, what are some things that I could do? What are some things that I could do to get more of those things off the list that I don't enjoy? Or two, what are ways that I could make this, if I have to keep it, what are ways that I could make it more inspiring or more joyous or more fun, so that it doesn't take away from the juice of my life and the fulfillment of my life? And that's the one homework action I would encourage for you guys that are after purpose, after your mission. And Stuart, did you have anything to add to the recap here?
No, actually, you've hit everything right on the head.
Well, beautiful. So for that, I want to say thank you very much, Stuart. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time and all of this value. I learned stuff from you. I take notes. People might notice me looking down sometimes because I'm writing notes, so that I can apply these things in my life too. And then obviously I recap the episode as well. But Stuart, is there anything that you're working on right now that you're super passionate about that you want to share? And where can people find out more about you and get more involved?
Yeah, actually, so I've just retooled my 2 programs that I offer right now, and I'm super, super excited. This is what the work that I was sharing with you last week. So I've taken the traditional type of personal coaching, and I started looking at it from a bigger, more holistic point of view, where we take into account body, mind, spirit, your spirit, and your surrounding energy. So we take all of that into account. So as we go in and we find all of these wonderful little things, you know, that your limiting beliefs, as we find your limiting beliefs, I actually will go in after your sessions and do a whole bunch of different energy work on you. So 2 really powerful modalities that I've learned in the last little while, that I do as complementary to the in-person sessions is body code and Reiki, and adding them all together to help break up all the attachments that we have to these limiting beliefs has been really, really powerful. And I'm really, really excited about being able to offer these new programs. So there's a basic program where anybody can take part in that one. That's 12 to 16 weeks long. And then I have an entrepreneurs version, which is an amazing, amazing program that is 21 weeks. And people, the stuff that people have been getting from the entrepreneurs program is pretty crazy. Cynthia Phillip actually went through that program, and that's why she is where she is right now, taking on photography at the level she is actually because she took my program.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And you're right, we did chat about that, which is why one of the reasons what inspired me to say you got to be on this show, with everything that you're doing and with all of the different modalities you bring in here to really offer your coaching program. We need to talk about that, because I don't know anyone doing that, not to that degree. I know other coaches, but I don't know people that are doing it to that degree. And I thought it was so powerful to get your insight on here. So sorry, I missed the website. Where can people go?
The website is right. Oh, there it is.
There we go. So you're like, can you forward that? Let's see that again.
Yeah, it's Your Life Sherpa which is me. I'm a Life Sherpa at www.uncommonlife.ca.
Beautiful, beautiful, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Stuart. I just wanted to let everyone know on the show, guys, thank you for joining us, and our intention is that you got value, that you apply something that you learned today on the show into your life, into your business, so that you can just start, right? That is the purpose of this. We want you to be inspired, empowered, operate your life and your business from a place of freedom, but use this information to just start a new mindset, start a new career, start a new business, whatever it is that you need to do, start. And you know, if you guys want to comment on this, go ahead. You can comment on this video on YouTube, or it'll be up on the website, marcgaudett.com, very shortly within the next week. You can comment at the bottom. And if you want, myself or Stuart, we can get answers to your questions. And then you'll also want to tune in and want to sign up on that website or on YouTube. Fill out your name and your email address if you go to my website, because again, I'm going to keep you up to date with the new guests that we're having on next week's show, as well as what the topic is. In next week's show, we're going to be talking about the mindset. We're going to have some very special guests as well on the show. We're talking about the mindset required to experience abundance in your business. So we'll take things a deeper dive than we did this week, and keep staying tuned for these updates, guys. But again, thank you for joining. We love each and every one of you. And Stuart, thank you for joining us on the show, and we will catch you guys on next week's episode of Hang Out with Marc. Take care.
Thanks. Take care.
See ya.